With Homestead in the books, we are down to the final race before the NASCAR Championship at Phoenix. It's been a long season. We started this way back in February. Appreciate everybody who's been along for the ride. Brian and I are going to get you set for this week at Martinsville. We'll also look at updated championship odds and recap all that was Homestead.
Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on grass.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
Brian Twining, it's in the video. It's Hail Melon week. It is Martinsville week. We're very excited. But before we do that, let's rewind the clock. Let's talk Homestead. Let's talk about what it means for this week. And all of that good stuff. So Christopher Bell, the guy that, so it's so crazy to me because it was very much Homestead is great for dirt racers that traditionally do well. Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, like this is a place where they can go and they can run the wall and they could do all this stuff. But Christopher Bell has never ever been able to kind of replicate
the mold there.
Replicate that kind of success. And obviously, we got to talk about stage 3 and all the crazy wild stuff that happened. Because, I mean, you could argue 4 of the top 6, 5 of the top 7 drivers
had no business.
Sunday didn't finish the race or were very close to not finishing the race. Kyle Larson decided that he needed to run into sand, despite being the. Let's do one by one. Let's start with Larson, who is clearly the best car.
Yes.
At the end of stage 2,
go
ahead.
I'll push back on him being the best car. So we saw it last week. So we saw it last week in Vegas. Over an extended run, there is just something that happens with Larson where he's losing time to the person chasing him down. You saw it with Christopher Bell catching him. And I think that must be because Larson builds these humongous leads, probably because he's not holding back at all. Yeah. So, for me, I think it was clear, in my opinion, that Ryan Blaney, he was the only guy in the field that had any business competing with Larson for the win. And I stick by what I said going into the race, that in a vacuum, like if you remove past results there, like I think Blaney was the best car.
Yeah, they definitely nailed the setup. But back to Larson. So looking great in stage 1, really, really good in stage 2. And all of a sudden, like the last 15 laps, maybe, I don't know if it's tire issues. I don't know what it is, but his car definitely goes back.
Did you hear? He apparently said, our amigo raced him super hard, which is what held him back. When Suarez was trying to stay on the lead lap, he was racing Larson really hard. Yeah. And Larson went on the radio and made a comment about like, mi amigo is racing me extremely hard. And that was probably why he lost some time to Blaney, honestly.
But he looked like he finished 5th in the stage, which is not great.
Incredible.
But even in stage 3, he looked good. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's like the pressure Ryan Blaney had him on or what, but like Blaney went into pit and Larson went into pit. And like, I mean, Chris Wormy calls him the bed shitter, and I don't think it's that crazy. Like when the pressure starts mounting, he makes a dumb decision. And it's just like, if this was Bubba Wallace, he'd be raked over the coals, but because it's Kyle Larson, it's crazy. But yeah, he runs right into the sand. And of course, I mentioned it on Twitter. Morikawa, Kyle Larson doubles for all the money. And I was feeling great about it. And obviously that didn't come to fruition.
Yeah. So one thing, like, obviously I was upset as a Blaney ticket holder. Like, it was the only outright that I actually went in on this last week, and it was looking great. Especially because I live bet him too at a larger number. I got it at 9-1 or something. those two guys were in two completely different situations from my vantage point. Like, I understand people that are saying that Blaney went in too conservatively, which maybe he did, but at the
He
same
was
time,
like 10 miles under the speed limit going into
but the thing is like he couldn't afford to have a speeding penalty. You know what I mean? Like, where he was in the playoff standings, he had to back it down.
But
Whereas
they
Kyle
also give
Larson,
you some leeway, I think, going in. But this is perfect discussion because you're obviously holding one ticket. I'm holding another ticket. It's easy to see how we can get different vantage points.
Well, okay,
depending
and
on
then
what's in our-
and then Kyle Larson, like, he had nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose from going balls to the wall. Like, let me see how close I could cut this to getting to pit road speed, because he went in hot. Now
But
he
I
probably
also
would have slowed the pit road speed.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. Like, I definitely think that, but he also has to understand the situation of the guy he's chasing down. That's where I think the major issue is.
But I think I think what happened was a result of where his head was at and like what he knew Blaney had. Like, he knew Blaney had a rocket ship.
Well,
And
yeah, exactly. And he's
if
like,
he
I got
got
to
in
try to
way
do this.
before him and got out way before him, which given the Penske track record and Blaney specifically, I think Larson probably could have been a little more flexible.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you have
stupid happening.
You have to gauge the field and know, like, Blaney's in a no-win situation if he goes into pit road and he speeds. Like, he loses his shot at advancing.
And you also put yourself in a shot. Like, you can't take yourself out of the picture before you even have a chance to get into it. Like, it's not 2 to go. It's not like the last pit cycle before the checkered flag. Like, you have a little bit of time. Don't make an unnecessary dumb decision.
And so what's interesting about it too is, like, this is not like the first time we've seen Kyle Larson go in hot into a corner somewhere and then, just, whatever. Like, we saw it last year. I forget. I was at like Coda, or I forget what road course it was, where he just forgot to brake. Like, it's because he is on the edge all the time. And I think the video that people have shown from his vantage point of riding the wall, that right there is a perfect example as to why this guy is as good as he is, but also in the same breath, why Chris Wormy calls him the bed shitter, because he's always on the edge as opposed to, playing it a little safe sometimes.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, he had a spot locked up, so he felt like he had a little more wiggle room. Truex clearly had a rough day. That dude was complaining left and right. If he doesn't make the championship 4, James Small is not his crew chief next year. And even now, like, even if he does, it seems like that relationship, and maybe they can get it squared away, but it seems like there's a lot of frustration. Like, no matter what James Small was saying, no matter what they were telling him, Truex was just not happy with everything. And it's just kind of been a building all the way. And then obviously Denny doing his Denny things and having a rough close to his day. And, interesting day. We got some, Chastain looked like he had a great car that was going to be really, really competitive. And obviously he had some stuff late that took him out. So
the thing was, I believe it was, I don't know if it was Skybox or somebody tweeted it, and they mentioned the point, like, 3 of the top 5 best cars essentially didn't finish well because of some bullshit that happened. Like, Chastain, Keselowski, and I believe it was it Kyle Busch, or I forget who else. They got trapped a lap down because of that funky ass caution that happened between Larson and Blaney, because they had just pit at the wrong time. And then, it was overall, it was a weird race. And, when you look at the finishing order, some of the guys up there had no business of having that type of day.
Nope. Brad K had a top 5 ride all day, and it was really frustrating as somebody who was very much invested in him to see him in like that. AJ Allmendinger scores a top 5 because of course he does.
Kevin Harvick somehow.
It was an interesting day for sure. So let's look at our DraftKings lineups. We'll look at the bet tracker, and then we'll look at championship future odds, because there is some interesting ways to play it if you have strong feelings for outrights. You can, we'll get into all that. So let me share my screen and we'll run through it. This one. So obviously this is the one we built on the show. Larson was awesome until he wasn't. The Larson Blaney double I think was a great way to start it. Obviously eating a lot of salary, but those were two of the guys you probably needed if Larson finishes the race and is at least in the conversation. He's having a monster day. Blaney was obviously really, really good. Joey Logano was incredible, 65 points. Obviously moved way up, got into the top 10 in 3 fastest laps, finished 8th. Keselowski, we talked about him. He was great until he wasn't, until he got trapped. Austin Cindric.
Penske had a great day.
I mean, it's funny because we talk about a lot of these jabronis and you go, why are you betting this guy? He sucks. He can't do anything. And, sometimes where there's a will, there's a way. And then I built this, I think Sunday morning after listening to Wormy and kind of using some of the stuff we got. So this was the $12, I believe. And it ended up finishing 9th. And had Larson finished on the lead lap, it might have even done better. But obviously it did the Bell thing. He was great. Did the Dinger thing. He was great.
And then, of course, Recchi spin out.
I told you, I said he has to make it to stage 3. He couldn't even do that. He was wrecked out before he even had a chance. And then I got to give all the props to Austin Dillon.
F that guy. A 10th place finish? Are you kidding me?
He was one of the most impressive performances. He might have been driver of the day.
Oh my God, because he maintained position?
No, did you not watch? You didn't miss it in the end then. He pitted late. His pit crew effed up in a major way. He went from 5th to 19th. And he was able to go all the way back to get it inside the top 10, cash everyone's tickets, and beat Harvick, who ended up finishing 11th.
Well, okay, let me just say I am speaking from a voice of annoyance because, the reason why I couldn't get on board with his top 10 play was because exactly where he finished in 10th. The likelihood of that.
But he was such a better car all day.
Oh, yeah, no, he was definitely better than a top.
Yeah.
He was a top 10
great car all day, and he raced through the field a couple of times and was really, really good. Obviously, Bell getting the win. Good job, Chris Bell. But Dillon was a very good car. Especially RCR has been a shit show. Yeah. They've been giving him so much junk with Kyle Busch trying to figure out his stuff. So yeah, I gotta give him his props. He was really incredible, and obviously, it didn't seem like it was gonna happen. I thought he was just a little bit too far, and he got there. He got inside that top 10 for the end, and obviously this ended up being a pretty decent lineup, doubling or more than doubling my money. But at one point, I was looking at triple digits with this. So obviously that didn't come to fruition, but it was nice to hit that. And obviously
that means you were looking at this at some point in stage.
Oh yeah. No, I used to be terrified, and I would assume that looking at my lineups would somehow derail it. And maybe it did because I looked at it and Larson crashed, but I'm trying to be better about not giving myself that much credit. If things go poorly or they go well, it's not because of how I look when I looked at the ticket. I do have that in terms of betting. I don't want to look at my tickets until they're completely done, but it's just
oh yeah, no, I'm the complete opposite, dude. I have all of my tickets open and I'm constantly checking to make sure okay, what do I have? What do I need? Yeah.
Let's go to the bet tracker because it was very frustrating. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski both had
bullshit. That's all I got.
Busch was a borderline top 10 car, but I think if he stays on the lead lap, probably is close. Keselowski was a top 5 car. He should have had a monster day. That was frustrating. Daniel Suarez was not it. That was more of a price play. Tyler Reddick was good, but he was never really that good. And he
he never showed even the long run speed that I thought he could potentially win there. Like there was a moment, I believe it was some point in stage 2, where I had the raw data feed up pretty much the majority of the race, and it started to look like he was finding lap times late in a run. Like he was running 30 and a halves while the leaders were running like 30.6, 30.7. And I think that had more to do with them hitting traffic than anything, because a couple laps after that, Reddick was running 39s and he never had race winning or even like really top 5 speed.
Yeah, he was in that 5 to 10 range. He was always a second tier Toyota behind either Truex or Hamlin or eventually Christopher Bell. So bad bet. Reddick over Truex ends up hitting, but I don't know. Like they were both in kind of that similar range. I think Truex was better early. And looked really dominant, and then kind of as the race went along, he just got worse and worse, and they weren't really having good pit times, and obviously all the stuff that ended up happening, and then he was out of the race. So I feel pretty good about that, especially getting it at plus money, because
I was just gonna say, because it was plus money, I feel like that's still a good bet.
If you're getting 2 drivers in relatively the same area, like if Truex was running, top 5 all day and Reddick was like 15th, then I would be like, okay, dumb bet. But if they're basically in the top 5 to 7 conversation, and I'll take my wins. Obviously joined you on Stenhouse. That was looking good until he lived up to his name and wrecked out. Reddick didn't. Reddick did top 10, or top 5 rather. So that was nice. I'll take that. Suarez over Jones.
I don't know if that was ever like. I felt like Suarez was probably a couple tenths off of Jones, but through some of the pit cycles, like sometimes Suarez would gain positions, and I don't know. That would have been a lucky bet.
Oh, for sure.
After
it was weird too, because Chastain clearly had speed and clearly had whatever he needed to be good.
Yep.
And, Daniel Miamigo was just not there. And then a lot of red on your card, Brian. A lot of the same ideas. Chastain was great until his car broke. Blaney had a legit chance at winning the race. Keselowski top 10 should have been cashing with ease. Stenhouse had life. Chastain top Chevy had life.
So on the Chastain top Chevy, when that caution came out between Larson and Blaney, I got all excited at first thinking, oh shit, I actually have a chance here, without realizing, of course, that they went a lap down. So that talk about deflating. Not only did I see the guy I had to pick to win the race get damaged because of Kyle Larson and him, not being on the same page there of entering the pits, but then also you get excited thinking you might have a chance at a plus 850 winner, and then, oh crap, I'm not paying enough attention to this.
That's why this stupid sport is so annoying sometimes, because you could pick the right car and things out of their control when they pitted, and then some random, Larson going in too hot, and then it throws out their flag, and then Stenhouse over Almirola. I feel like that hits if Ricky can just keep his damn car on the track, but that's just simply too much to ask. So I feel like we've been so directionally accurate the past couple weeks. It's just every time the cards flip over, it's just red.
Well, I'll say, so the Stenhouse one, that was going to be dicey. The Stenhouse top 10 for sure was going to be dicey.
Yeah. But I think the head-to-head against Almirola feels pretty good.
Yeah, I definitely missed on Suarez over Jones.
Yeah, no, that was a big L. But the Chastain had life. The Blaney had life.
Chastain and Keselowski top 10s. Those hit without whatever the chaos we get. And then honestly, Blaney probably is competing with Larson or winning.
Yeah. You have a legit chance at winning the race. And that's all you can ask for from your outrights. Give me a sweat in stage 3 at the end, and I'll be happy.
If we had 10 more laps at the end of that race, I think Blaney continues to push and he gets there.
I feel like we've said that the past couple of weeks, where if there was just a few more laps, the results might have been different. But it's the wild thing about NASCAR is they kind of cap the race off. So, all right. So that's that. Let's look at the outright odds and talk about it. So Larson, obviously, still crazy priced. Just wait till Phoenix. the odds of the Phoenix person who wins Phoenix not being the championship driver is probably pretty low. So I'd rather just bet Larson, even if it's 2.5 to 1. William Byron, I want to bet Byron so bad, but 3 to 1, that's just too steep of a price. Plus 275, plus 250. Like, I feel like we'll get a better number come Phoenix if he makes the Final Four, and if he doesn't, then we obviously don't want to bet it. I don't want to bet Christopher Bell at this number. I think the intriguing thing is we have 2 spots left. So we should make our predictions after we talk about odds, because obviously what you could bet it at and what, like, in terms of odds and what we actually think could happen are can be a little different. So I think the numbers that make sense, and we'll look at the outright odds here in a bit. But Denny Hamlin, you could get as long as 12 to 1, and he's the massive favorite to win the race. He's 3.5, like Kyle Larson prices last week. So obviously, if you think he could do that, betting him to win here is probably the move. Because even if you bet him, at 3 to 1 to win the race this week, and then you roll that over into probably 2.5 or 3 to 1 at Phoenix.
I was just going to say it's probably going to be 3 or 4 at the
long. You're probably looking at 9 or 10 to 1 in terms of total odds. So 12 to 1 is a pretty damn good price. Ryan Blaney, as long as 14, I think is really interesting.
So
obviously,
I think Blaney is probably the most intriguing championship future right now, because not only does he sit 10 points above the cut line, but he's been pretty damn good here at Martinsville. And if anybody is going to knock off Kyle Larson or William Byron at Phoenix, the guy that most likely won is probably Blaney, who was the best car here last year, or in Phoenix last year.
Yeah.
And just, he rode behind Joey Logano to push him to a victory. So, I mean,
right.
You had said this before we started recording, like Blaney is a decent number this week in Martinsville. He was 16 to 1 at Westgate Superbook, by the way, which I so wish I was in Vegas, because I'd be smashing that. But you can just split whatever you were going to bet, take that unit or how many units you're going to do it, split it in half, bet today or this weekend's race and a championship future on them too.
So say you were going to bet $100, just put 50 on the race and 50 on the championship, and I think that's an interesting way to play it. I think with Hamlin, I'm just going all in on the championship future and hoping he gets there. Obviously, you can grab some head-to-head or some other exposure if you want to get some more Hamlin this week. I have no interest in Truex. I think he is beyond frustrated. I think him and Small are going to be bickering once again. Like I said, I think there's a divorce in their future. But if you like Truex, especially if you can get like 18 or 20, now's the time to get in. Because if he finds a way to get on the right side of that cut line, because we talked about it last week, Blaney was way outside, and now he's comfortable. Nobody's comfortably without a win, but he's on the good side by a bit. So there is opportunity for things to kind of flip around. So if you really like Truex this week, grabbing him to win the championship at 15 or 20 seems nice. Tyler Reddick's number is all over the board. I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. I don't think we're going to get him to Phoenix with a chance to win, but we didn't think we would be getting Christopher Bell to win last week. So once again, if you love Tyler Reddick, you think he can be a real factor this week, if you can get north of 20 to win the championship, I think it's a fun bet. And then Christopher Buescher, it's just,
I mean, look, if he wins, and if you have a guy in the championship race at 100 to 1, like, I think it's definitely worth a dart throw.
I mean, we did it last year with Chase Briscoe.
Exactly. What if he just drives out of this world this weekend, somehow sneaks in, like, literally anything can happen.
The one of the places where he's actually been pretty good is flat tracks, and you typically shorter flat tracks. He won at Bristol.
Yep. Well, that one's pretty big.
No, where did he win? He won at a flat track, didn't he? Am I misremembering?
So he won Richmond this year.
Richmond, that's where he won. Yeah. And he won Richmond too. And obviously that was during the weird part of the season that doesn't really apply. But Richmond has some shorter, flatter track to it, like much. I mean, there's not really a great comp for Martinsville, but Richmond and Bristol to a lesser extent are kind of it. So he could pop up, he could win if you have, like, if you want to throw $5 on it and just not worry about the race this week and just bet the future. I think that could be fun. Or maybe you take I don't know, most books probably won't let you do this, but you bet the race win this week and the championship odds and parlay that, because he's gonna have to do both and get yourself a real lottery ticket.
Yeah, no.
So my question to you, Brian, is as we sit here, which championship futures are you actually interested in lining up and betting, whether because of the odds or because you actually think it come to fruition or you think you're going to get a better number for next week? Like, is there anyone that you were actually like that? I would strongly consider this one this week.
Ryan Blaney, 14-1. So Kyle and I, we did like preseason bets, and we added during the season. Like, I wasn't going to add anything else, but I'm going to add the Ryan Blaney to the card because the numbers there, like 14-1. If he gets to Phoenix, he's probably going to be 2.5 to 1. Larson will probably open at 150 again, or 2-1. Byron will probably be 2.25. Blaney will probably be 2.5, and then whoever the other fourth guy, like Denny or whatever, is or Bell, actually. Bell is probably going to be 2.5, 3. Like, all of these guys are going to be very similarly priced as we go to Phoenix. So if you could jump on a number as long as this right now for somebody that's as good as he is there, you have to do it.
Yeah, I have two outrights still pending for the championship. I have Tyler Reddick at 16, and I have Christopher Bell at 12. I was really hoping Reddick last week and Bell this week. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have a couple darts going for sure. I'm mad at myself for not adding William Byron at any point. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of sad because the only outright bet I still have pending is actually Tyler Reddick at 25-1 from BetMGM that I bet in July. So that's like, I've been sitting on that a long time.
Yeah, I have a Reddick, I think, at 16, and I have Christopher Busher from before the playoffs started, and probably gonna light both those on fire, but it's fun to think about. Yeah, I think the two. I think it's Hamlin just because of where he's priced this week, and if he gets in the playoffs, obviously you have a nice ticket for next week. And I think Ryan Blaney makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because Larson and Byron, like them, basically. I mean, Byron is not guaranteed a spot. Like, if he has car issues or he wrecks out early.
I mean, he's been so rock solid that it's easy to see him getting there, and I think he's been one of, if not the best car for the from the beginning of the season to the end. So he probably deserves to get there. But yeah, you're right. If he has an issue early, if Chris Busher wins and Ryan Blaney is second, and and William Byron doesn't get any stage points and has a frustrating day, all of a sudden, Willie B's not racing for the championship,
Just say Byron has the same day that Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin had last week, like where he's got car issues and it's just stuff you cannot predict.
Or you get, it's a short track. You get trapped a couple laps down and you can't unlap yourself.
Yeah.
Or you have to take calculated risks. You end up Chase Ellioting your way and running out of fuel 3 laps too short or something.
That's so messed up.
It's one of those things. You never know. All right, so that's where we're at. Let's look at their odds for this week and run through it. So as we mentioned, Hamlin is your prohibitive favorite, 2 plus 275 at DraftKings.
No effing chance should anybody be betting that, in my opinion.
Not at this point. Like,
No.
if he comes out and dominates and dusts everyone in practice and qualifying, then sure. But you're gonna be, even if you're betting at 250, it's fine. But at this point, like, there's no way. He is clearly the best driver on my model that I built for this. But like, no.
Yeah, no.
Not double the odds. And then Larson is 6 or 7. Willie B as long as 8. We talked about kind of, things could go really wrong, but he could also win this damn thing and be really good. And he's been rock solid. And, the Kyle Larson can be the best car and take himself out of a race. Byron's not going to do that. He's going to put himself in position. He
True.
might not be the best car. He might not be the fastest car, but he's going to be in one of those first 2 rows and give himself a real shot at the end. And if we get a restart or something wacky happens, he's been able to win at Vegas. He won it. Where did he win? Not the
Somewhere he had no business winning, I remember.
Yeah, well, he won at Watkins.
Like Darlington?
Yes. No.
Hold
I
on,
don't
let me
know.
check.
This damn season's too long. But yeah, he ended up.
So he won Vegas, Phoenix.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Darlington. Yeah.
Darlington, yeah.
Yeah, that was the race that I remember when they did the final restart. It was him and Kevin Harvick, and I just remember celebrating before they even did the restart because Harvick had damage. So there was no way his car could keep up.
Brad Keselowski inside 10-1. Martin Truex inside 10-1. And then, we'll get Blaney's pretty much double digits. So of the guys that are inside 10-1, Truex, Keselowski, Byron, Larson, Hamlin, any interest in outrights for any of them at this point?
I don't hate Byron, but
Yeah,
I think now we run the risk of a guy like Byron, who's probably going to be up front the majority of the day, unless something happens, who he may accumulate enough points over the first 2 stages that they're just kind of like, all right, let's just get out of here clean and let's start looking forward to Phoenix without him.
I mean, like a top 3, top 5 finish could be plenty fine for him. So
yeah,
I think that's probably the way to bet Byron, but he's also a badass who's won a ton of races this year and could easily win this week too. So if you wanted to go there, wouldn't fault you, but I am a little more like Brian, where I think, things don't go well or things go a little too well and he racks up too many stage points, kind of out of it. But yeah, I have no interest in Kez. I have no interest in Truex. So let's talk about the next range, because Ryan Blaney is 10-1. I know there's a lot of buzz and kind of thoughts there. I am a little worried. I was listening to NASCAR betting preview. This is going to be a strategy race. This is going to be probably not a huge tire issue race.
Well, they're also using a different tire altogether.
Yeah. Well, and so they were talking a little bit about that. It's supposed to be different, but Goodyear's also not going to like completely change the tire with one race to go before the championship. So I think in terms of wear and kind of what teams should expect, it should be pretty similar. But if we get to, practice and people are just popping tires and having all kinds of issues, then we'll have to come back and obviously reassess. And we always do that on Saturday night. So something to think about, but at least at this point, I don't think it's going to be a major issue, but I do worry about Blaney's team doing something dumb and just not getting it there at the end. So, but like we talked about,
Probably finishing behind Joey Logano.
10-1 to win this race, 10-1 to win the championship. Both numbers feel pretty nice. Beyond there, we have Tyler Reddick, aforementioned Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, and then we start talking outside 20. So obviously, talk to me about this range, from like kind of 10 to before we get to the 20s. Anybody you're interested in, anybody you're adding to the card, or just at least keeping an eye on at this point?
Yeah, like I'll probably add Blaney at some point. The thing is, it's hard when I have seen the 16-1 and then these are all 10, 11. It's hard to get down on a number knowing you missed the best. But When you look at Blaney's track record at Martinsville, a lot of people don't really consider him, one of the best drivers here. But I think it started to come out earlier today. Like when you take, I think it's the last 10 or among all active drivers, Blaney actually has the best average finishing position at Martinsville. I think it's like 7.2 or something ridiculous. So he's been really good here. He's been pretty damn good at the playoff races here. Last year he finished third. He's in 2021, he finished 11th. And then I think the year before that, he finished runner up. So like he is really good at Martinsville. And he probably should be talked about in the same breath as a Denny of late, not of his like earlier portion of his career where Denny was absolutely incredible. And knowing that he's only in fourth position right now, like you said, it could be a strategy race and maybe we're coming down to the end and he's racing Denny. And if it's Denny and him 1 and 2, does Ryan Blaney have the marbles to do what it takes to get the win? I mean, he's going to have to at this point. So I still like him on the number, even if he's in a strategy play. I talked about this the other couple races ago with Tyler Reddick, and I was completely wrong about that. But I think that was, I forget what road course that was as we came to the end of the season. But
I think it was Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah. So I'll still take Blaney double digits. He's really good here. I like him better than even going to the Reddick, just because Reddick's track history at Martinsville is not that great.
Yeah, him and Buescher, as iFantasy Race puts it, will need probably career days to get to victory lane and make it to the Final Four. Do you think a non-playoff driver has a shot to win, or is this going to be?
It's happened before.
Yeah. And we talked about it, like qualifying well doesn't actually do great. Like it's been a kind of a more of a detriment, and it's a long day. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about, but there is some compelling cases. Obviously, Brad Kay, who's been rock solid here.
So
Joey Logano.
In each of the last 3 Martinsville playoff races, a non-playoff driver has finished first or second.
Oh,
yeah. So last year,
don't be afraid to be excited about non-playoff drivers.
Yeah. So last year it was Kyle Larson, who he finished second. He started on pole. 2 years ago, or 2021, it was Alex Bowman actually winning the race, who wasn't involved in the playoffs. And then in 2020, it was the aforementioned Ryan Blaney finishing runner-up to Chase Elliott. So
interesting. That makes me feel better. I'm probably gonna not here.
Go back even further. 2019, it was William Byron finishing runner-up to Martin Truex Jr. 2018, Denny Hamlin finished runner-up to Joey Logano.
And I'm not going to do it on the outright card because it feels like a bridge too far. But it is SHR week. I'm very excited. I get to bet all of the donkeys that I love to bet.
Disgusting.
You will see Chase Briscoe on the betting card. You'll see Eric Almirola on the betting card. You will see Ryan Preece on the betting card. It's going to get gross, and I cannot wait. Very, very excited.
Since we're passing by his name, and you mentioned it at the top of the show, it's Hail Melon Week.
It is.
What would NASCAR do if a playoff driver was in a situation where they needed to get spots and they maybe not necessarily pulled off the Chastain move, but put it into the wall, say on a straightaway, to try to squeeze past somebody 3 wide?
I think if they do anything remotely to what Chastain did, I think they get disqualified and don't get to advance.
See,
I think they would take it that seriously.
Yeah, and that's so, not to get off track here, but I don't understand how they can still use the video and promote it if they literally then outlawed it and said, "Oh yeah, we can't be doing
cool moment in history." It's like it's just one of those things. It was never done before. It'll never be done again, but it was hell of a good time while it was here.
So I saw somebody else tweet today. What if you have like places 8 on back and you just have like all 20 cars do the wall ride at the end to try to gain positions? What is NASCAR gonna do?
I want to see Chastain like running like 35th and do a Hail Melon just for shits and giggles.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, anyway, so all right, let's go over to finishing position because my betting card is about to find some company. So we'll go over here to the top 10 market. Actually, let's look on here because I think it might be better. Let's see if we can find the best odds. Whew. Okay, here we go. Chase Briscoe, top 10, plus 150. Welcome to the betting card.
Oh my
Ryan
God.
Preece, top 10, plus 160. Welcome to the betting card. Let's see. Eric Almirola, plus 140. Welcome to the betting card. And Kevin Harvick, even money. Welcome to the betting card. They put
Crazy,
well, maybe I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't you just throw all of them on there because I'm trying to think. Like Harvick feels like the most safe for sure, but if I get 2 of them, then yeah, because I'm getting more than I'm getting. If I get Harvick, is basically getting my money back on that bet, and then I just need to get one of the other ones for plus money, and then if I happen to get 3 of them, then I'm having a great day. And there is better numbers in market, I believe. So, but we're going to use the numbers here. So always shop it. Kevin Harvick at even money feels really nice to top 10. That dude is just like top 10 machine. So I feel good about that.
You want to feel really gross?
No. Yeah.
Joey Logano, top 10, minus 120, is going on my betting card, which makes it 2 weeks in a row. I have backed the 2 drivers that I dislike the most from a betting perspective.
I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know what you want to happen. Like when you bet on your nemesis, they lose, and if you bet against your nemesis, they win. So, I think if I had to rank my top 10s from SHR, I think Harvick's the one I feel probably the best about. But if you want to talk about the one I like, the ones that I feel like have a higher range of outcomes, I think Chase Briscoe. I think Priest is number 2. I think Briscoe's number 3. But I feel like both of them have like weird top 3 upside. Maybe probably more like top 5.
I definitely think Briscoe is somebody to
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye on this week.
Shorter,
for sure.
flatter tracks. He loves them. He'll be good at Phoenix too, so he'll probably be on the card next week. I just this is my Mona Lisa week, Brian. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna paint away and do in the aforementioned Bob Ross. Just make some happy little trees.
Happy little trees.
The Bacon Man is the one I'm most concerned about, especially because where he's at and where the season has gone.
Yeah.
But like, can I really bet Briscoe, Harvick, and Priest and not put the Bacon Man on there?
No, you almost have to put Almirola.
Yeah, here we go.
Because everybody likes bacon.
Thoughts and prayers in advance. You know, I would tend to agree with you, Brian, but I think there is a bunch of weirdos that think bacon's not good. So
well, and then if there's like religious reasons, I understand that. That's different from not liking it.
But I feel like there's people that are just like, no, I don't like bacon. It's not good. But
yeah, I had a friend.
Never had it.
I had a friend who we've kind of fallen apart, probably because of this.
Yeah, I mean, bacon is the glue that holds relationships together for sure.
All right,
Alex Bowman.
No, I don't know. He's too far out of the picture for anything. Like I mean, he would probably be the guy that is the one that finishes runner-up because nobody's expecting it, but
let me see. Our buddy iFantasy Race. So many good nuggets. Let's see. Where did I see it? I saw Bowman thing. Here we go. At Martinsville, over the last 6 races, minus spring 2021, Alex Bowman has a 7.2 average finish. In the spring 2021, where he had a misleading result and finished 34th, Bowman was 7th after stage 1, 5th after stage 2. Let's see, show more. Had a loose wheel and made an unexpected pit stop that put him back in traffic, and then he was collected in the big wreck. So he was running in the top 10. He was a top 10 car all day until he had an incident, and obviously when that happens, out of the picture. So if you can get plus 175, I think that's fine. My question is, see, the top 10 is too short, but I think if you can do Keselowski for top 3, because over the last 15 races, Keselowski has 11 top 5s and only 3 results outside the top 10. So maybe we go to top 5.
Ooh, that's wild.
So plus 150. Brad K, welcome to the betting card. Are you gonna put both of them on there? Oh my god. You okay? Like,
yeah, I'm going off the rails this week.
Brian, blink twice if you're in a hostage situation and I need to come save you. And you're not wrong. Oh my, wow. Okay. I'm glad he's not on my card because he's definitely gonna have a bad day. It is Joey Logano week on Brian's card. He is gone.
If anybody outside of the playoffs, in my opinion, is going to surprise and finish up near the front and get inside first or second place, it's going to be Joey Logano.
And Brian Twining, if there was one driver who would be the reason why his teammate Ryan Blaney didn't make the playoff final
it's
four,
Joey Logano.
It's Joey fucking Logano. No, that you're not wrong.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, it feels wrong, first of all, for me to be doing this. But honestly, if anybody's going to be the one that does this, it's somebody like him, in my opinion, because everybody is going to be looking at Brad Keselowski for how good he's been. And they're going to kind of skip over Logano, who just always somehow manufactures ridiculous finishes.
Chase Elliott, another guy that
nobody's skipping over him. That's for sure.
Everybody's on, but let's see here. Where is that Chase Elliott tweet, Mr. iFantasy Race? Nope, that's not it. Where's your Chase Elliott tweet? He had a really good one. That's Bowman. Nope, that's Briscoe. So for Briscoe in the next gen at Martinsville, Briscoe is 3 for 3 starting in the top 10 and has a 7.6 average finish. This spring, Briscoe finished 5th in stage 1, 2nd in stage 2, and a race best 4.8 average finishing, average running position, and led the most laps and was the best driver. They had the best driver rating and ended up finishing 5th. Chase, Mother, and Briscoe. It's so dumb that I'm like this excited about betting Chase Briscoe, but it's legit. Like he's mine.
Of course, it would be now that he turns it on after he's already eliminated.
Yeah, and I think Chase Elliott was like 10 for 10 or something, or has been a top 10 car basically every race. He's just ridiculous, and it feels like Chase Elliott. I don't know, like should we just not worry about him until next year? Because I'm really curious to see the numbers we get, and obviously we'll get to talk all off season about what we might see and what it means for the drivers that had bad seasons and bounce backs and stuff. But Mr. Consistent at Martinsville in the next gen card, Chase Elliott, 10th, 10th, and 10th. So he's just right there.
Yeah.
And he's been better, but it's still been, I don't know.
Yeah, he's not a race winning car yet.
No.
That's like he's
But I
fighting
am
for
curious
good
to see if
finishing
that changes
position.
next year when everything resets and Byron's and Larson aren't competing for the championship as right off the jump and how that goes. So beyond there, is there any other top 10s, top 5s, anything else you want to look at before we move on to other stuff?
Yeah, so I was trying to look and see. I mean, because you would think you'd probably want to get down on Byron.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Top 3. Plus 225, plus 230 to top 3. I don't hate that. We talked about kind of our expectation, and he could just be a guy that's gets stage 1, stage 2 points, feels really good, and just kind of lets whoever's in front beat him.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of worry about him. And maybe it's matchups. And I know Caesar's been dropping like stage matchups, so maybe.
Yeah, because that's why I want to know Fop over here, because he's plus 220 to top Chevy. I don't know that I love that as much. I think I'd rather go with top 3 or top 5.
Ooh, the top Toyota market is very interesting.
Yeah. Wait till we get to top Ford, buddy. Wait
You're
till
gross.
we get to top Ford. Okay, talk to me. Top Toyota, Denny, obviously crazy price, but that gives us good numbers on everybody else. So Truex 375, Reddick 550, Christopher Bell 6-1, Ty Gibbs, and then Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, we talked about it in a different light with Kyle Larson heading into Homestead, but I don't know how focused Christopher Bell's going to be on this race now that he's locked in, and this race means absolutely nothing for them.
Yeah, but like I think this is a good track for him. I think it's a place where he could win, and I think it's balls to the wall, try and win it. And if it doesn't work, that doesn't work. And I think he has probably his engineers and people prepping his car for next week and kind of going through that process. And he's probably spending a little time this week. But I think in the big picture, he can. I think if you want Bell exposure, you need to go big. Don't go with like a top 10. I think. Go with a race win, go with a top Toyota, go with a top 3, really push things, or he'll or just kind of have an average to below average day.
Yeah, I think the same could be said for any of the top 3 guys currently in the playoff standings. Because like you said, like Byron could say finish top 3 in both stages 1 and 2 and say the other guys don't point at all and say maybe one of them wrecks out and he, automatically qualifies by default, then he can just kind of coast while Larson and Christopher Bell, like they're just there to compete. Like they have nothing riding on this.
Yeah, I think, with Larson where he's at, Byron obviously where he's at, there is an interesting like Chastain at 12, the Bowman number. Like could another car pop up and win top Chevy? I think it's possible. And I think if you want like some exposure to maybe a little bit more of a long shot, that might be an interesting way, especially at this point. Because if they qualify well and those numbers get smushed, then maybe you don't love it as much. All right, top Ford, baby. Brad K, obviously your big favorite. Ryan Blaney, I think plus 330 is really nice on him. Logano obviously could be really good, but the SHR window right here, baby.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. Kevin Harvick 6-1, Almirola 8-1, Priest 8-1, Chase Briscoe 10-1. Welcome to the betting card.
Oh my goodness, folks.
Oh yes. It feels good. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe at the end of Sunday, I'm like, why did I invest so much in this dumb strategy? But these guys have been so damn good at flatter, shorter. Like they know how to get the car set up and make it work. And they're
Hey,
maybe
that's actually a good number too, because he's 9-1 at BetRivers.
yeah. And honestly, like I think I like Priest, I like Almirola, and obviously Harvick should be rock solid. But if I'm getting probably my favorite SHR at the longest price, I think that's fun. I don't hate Priest at 8-1 either. But Briscoe feels like somebody who could be good. And I was actually looking, let me see if I can pull this up while I talk. But his like recent finishes, just kind of in general, have actually been pretty good for, I mean, especially given he's Chase Briscoe. But let's see here. So yeah, so he was, what was I looking at? Maybe it wasn't Briscoe, maybe it was Ryan Preece. There's all these things that I think about and then I get very excited and then I forget. All right, Brian. Talk to me about like are you interested in like Logano? I know you're all in on Logano as a top Ford, or is that just too much exposure for you?
He's plus 550 at BetRivers.
Don't hate that.
And the thing is like I clearly from a fan perspective, like obviously I don't want that to happen. I want Ryan Blaney to get that and him to win the race. But I think there's a world where, say, Joey Logano F's everybody, wins this race, but it's with Ryan Blaney finishing runner-up. Because Logano winning does not hurt the rest of the field that hasn't won yet to clinch a spot.
If there's two open spots instead of just one, it helps the whole field and helps his teammate, especially if Blaney's having a good day.
Yeah, and so
and even if he ends up kind of falling back a little bit, if Logano finds a way to win, then there's two spots and maybe the points is enough.
Or if Logano is that non-playoff driver that finishes first or second, it finishes runner-up, say, and Blaney is fourth or something, Yeah.
So the thing I was looking for, Ryan Preece, Kansas 18th, Bristol 12th, Texas 23rd, Talladega 8th, Charlotte Roval 11th, Las Vegas 26th, and then Homestead last week 13th. So he's been improving. He's been solid. He's had shots. He was fifth or fourth at North Wilkesboro. He's shown up at a few spots. He was good at the Coliseum races, obviously. Different there, but inside the top 10. I feel good about his top 10, and I feel like his potential to pop is a little bit higher than I think many people want to do. So if I can add a little bit of exposure to increase my upside, I think I'm going to do it. So I'm going to add Priest and Briscoe as top 10s, or not as top 10s, as top Fords.
Gosh.
I know it's really stupid, but I love it. I'm so excited.
So my thing is, if you like Ford so much, over on Caesars, you could get over 3.5 Fords to finish inside the top 10 at minus 110.
Okay.
Like, I don't hate that.
I kind of like getting a better number, but it's fine.
We only got 2 races left.
Oh yeah, no, this is and mind you, this is don't go put mortgage your house and where am I getting that? BetMGM?
Caesars.
But I do think there is value on the Fords this week. Yeah, because like Keselowski, obviously, if you just give me Keselowski, Blaney, Logano, and Harvick, not even any of the guys that I really like at value, like that's 4 right there. That feels pretty damn good. And I think there's a world where Briscoe or Priest or Almirola, maybe they, if Bellini has a rough day or
Yeah.
Logano has a rough day, that one of those guys can easily be the fourth car. And yeah, I think that's a fantastic bet. I think that was down here. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good. Toyota's plus 135 for the over. No. And then Chevy's.
Damn it. So Caesars does not have stage matchups.
No. Why would they? Chevy's, if I'm bullish on the Fords and think 4 or 5 could get in potentially, should I buy principal, take the under and the plus money and see if I can't
Hedge?
Well, just like if I'm telling myself a story where all this stuff happens.
With all the Fords?
Mm-hmm. And obviously there will be a couple Toyotas in there. You just start running out of spots. So if you say 4,
so you get four Fords, 3 Chevys. All you need is 3. Well, all you need is half of the Toyota garage, which is possible.
And you could do 5-2.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. Oh, Full Tank with Phil. Shout out to him. Mentioned this. It's really fun. So the nail biter finish is 6-1, and it's like tenths of a second, hundreds of a second. But if you want to go with, this is like, cars. It's dropped significantly. I think he mentioned it higher, but like if you think this is just like a
snooze fest with no caution at the end,
yeah, just like cars going around all day, like they could get a 3 to 4 or 5 second race lead.
I almost feel like on that mark, I feel like going with both 1 to 2 seconds and 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah,
is probably the best.
Because you get 5 to 1 on that. So if one of those hits, you're at least getting plus 250. I don't hate that. So I appreciate what Caesars is doing, giving us different stuff,
different markets and all
and
that.
Actually trying. Like that's all I ask for from my sports book. So major shouts to Caesars. They don't pay us anything, but props to them. Okay, there is a couple interesting ones. Blaney top 3 is plus 360. The boost.
I'm taking one for the team again. I'm not betting him with the understanding that anytime I back somebody, it backfires. So
all right. So Harvick is a favorite to qualify better than Logano. Larson over Elliott in qualifying. Bell over Bubba in qualifying. Reddick over Buescher. This is kind of interesting. I expect both these guys to qualify pretty well. I think the Fords probably do better. Speaking of Fords doing better, that's kind of interesting. Although it feels like Truex has been better about qualifying this year.
Yeah.
Brad over Denny. I know Denny is like the favorite, but like, is there a world where Denny maybe qualifies 3rd or 4th and Brad is in that just above him?
Well, Denny's never put it on pole here.
Even better.
And I think it's also important to note, since the next gen car, his best starting position at Martinsville is 11th.
So Brad K plus 115. Welcome to the betting card.
I didn't want to talk you into that, but
hey, I mean, you're just simply giving us information. What I end up doing with that information is my own accord. You're not forcing me to do anything I don't want to do. I like making dumb decisions all on my own.
I was gonna say, and Keselowski's qualifying effort this year was his worst in the last 5 races at Martinsville, and the first time he didn't crack the top 10 in that span too. So
it seems like the odds of them both having the wrong day is low.
Yeah.
This is fun. this is also mentioned. So you can get Team Penske over Team SHR at -105. So it's your best finisher. So you have Logano and Blaney, and then I guess Cindric if you throw him in there.
Yeah, F it. I'm taking that.
And I get all the donkeys at SHR, and I'm so excited. We haven't had a show bet in a long time, but like if we were doing a show bet with like split odds, I would totally take that.
We could do that. We could just make it a show bet.
Yeah. Front row versus colleague. Hendrick versus JGR. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would lay the juice with JGR, honestly, because
Really?
Hendrick, you really got two guys.
Because plus you get Denny, who's the outright favorite. So if you really love Denny and you think he's going to smash, this is a kind of a good way to bet it. Although I guess, and then maybe he gets second or third. Trackhouse versus RFK. Chastain versus Brad Keselowski. Yeah. All right, Logano plus money over Larson. Reddick Blaney. See, the problem is they head-to-headed a lot of my guys against each other, and I don't like that.
It's because they know a lot of people are on the fact that garage is good on this track.
It's like it's the new Service Academy unders. Like everybody's on board, and sometimes you feel like a donkey getting on board with it, but it's the move. Okay, Truex at plus 140 against Denny. Let's go back.
I am adding one Ryan Blaney bet.
Oh.
Ryan Blaney over Denny Hamlin at BetMGM for plus 135.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
Out of principle.
Yeah, you got to have some exposure. Harvick versus Reddick. That's interesting. Especially given the price.
Look, I'm not going to lie. If Tyler Reddick wins, I'm going to be ecstatic sitting there holding that 25-1 ticket, but
same.
It's probably not happening.
So this is the one that I've been thinking about. So Ty Gibbs, by the numbers, should be a dog to Almirola. But Gibbs, especially of late, has really improved. And as his short, flat track season has gone along, he's gotten better. And I know Bristol is not flat, it's banked, but it is another short track where he was awesome. And that's the most recent shorter track. I don't know that I can pull the trigger. I want to, because I like that number, but I am worried. And I did it last week too. I went against Gibbs and he started off slow, but my God, as that race went along, he was figuring stuff out. He was doing it.
He was like they had asked, I think it was Chris Wormy asked Mr. Derek Yoder, who was at the track, what Gibbs was doing during practice, and Derek responded like he was ripping the wall, just like Larson and Reddick, and he was finding speed up there. So the kid is learning, and I mean, to his credit, I definitely downplayed what I thought he was going to do this year, but he's been incredible.
And we talked, and obviously appreciate everybody who's hung around this long. We're going a little bit longer tonight. We're milking every last race we can.
Yeah.
But he was really good early, and then he kind of petered off, and we're like, okay, well, maybe, he'll learn some things and we'll see him next year. But he's really rebounded nicely and had some really impressive finishes as we kind of gone to the end of the season. Bowman over Bubba feels nice. I know it's 115 on either side, but I feel like that's pretty good. Although
Bubba hasn't been terrible. He's got two top 10s.
He's been better at short tracks than maybe people perceive him. All right, I'm adding that. Briscoe. Oh my God, my card is stupid long, and it's not even free. Oh my God, I'm gonna end up hating myself after this race, but that's okay. CHER. All right, Briscoe over Busher. minus 114 on either side. Into the card. The cool thing is when all the SHR guys crashed in stage 1, I can just sit back and enjoy the race. Oh, that's interesting too.
Don't do it.
All right, Brian, you ready to recap the card, give people our favorite bet, and get out of here?
Oh my gosh, your card is huge. Yes.
Yeah, it's redonkulous. I mean, you have Joey Logano on there 4 or 5 times. So, Brian, Logano top 10, Logano top 5, Logano top 3, Logano top 4. Doesn't have an outright though, which is kind of interesting. Penske over SHR and Blaney over Hamlin. So, do you have a hat that just has a big Penske logo? Because I feel like you're going to need that.
I do, but it has a big number 12 on it.
Oh, no, like Rob Lowe had the NFL logo hat when it was the football game.
Right.
You're just going to be like Penske, and you don't even care. All right. And then my card is disgusting. Chase Briscoe top 10, Kevin Harvick top 10, Ryan Preece top 10, and the Bacon Man top 10. Brad K top 5, Chase Briscoe top Ford, and Ryan Preece top Ford. Over 3.5 Fords to top 10. In qualifying, I have Brad K over Denny at plus money, and then I have Briscoe over Busher. Brian Twining, as we sit here Wednesday evening, what is your favorite and or best bet for the race?
Joey Logano top 10. It's gross. It's hard for me to say, but yeah.
It's like I don't even know who you are anymore.
It's disgusting. Like, think about it. Last week we were right about Brad Keselowski.
You sure were.
And then this week we'll probably be right about Logano, but he'll probably get Matt Kenseth.
Logano's going to finish 11th and just tank
exactly.
your bets. I like it. You're on the right side. I'm going Briscoe over Busher. I know Busher's a playoff driver, but I think he's ran out of steam. I think the SHR guys are going to have a great day, and Chase Briscoe will be your top Ford. Cannot wait. Brian and I will reconvene Saturday night. We'll be in your feed Sunday morning. We'll talk DraftKings. We'll talk betting. We'll talk everything post-qualifying. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let us know how dumb we are in the comments. We'll talk to you next time.